Greetings. Welcome to the Wyoming Convention, State Convention for 2023. This is our lunch session. Our speaker will be immediate past International President Douglas Alexander. We'll be starting the program in just a moment or two. I will shut off the volume during the time that people are being served lunch and eating. So I'll have the opening, and then there'll be a break of about 15 minutes while people get finished eating. Then I'll turn the mic back on. Okay, enjoy the broadcast. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I almost asked you, but but I thought I asked myself. Yes. Do you mind if I join you? No. Oh, okay. Chapman's back, I think. Yes. Okay. Yes. Gary likes to come up. I like to keep an eye on him. Here, I can just start going up. I don't need to. Sounds good.
Are you managing things here?
United States.
Hey, we were at 1 minute and counting down.
Yeah, everything's offsite.
We're at 45 seconds. Don't listen to him. He's not in charge.
I want to.
Lion Jim stole District Governor Gary's microphone so he could yell at the crowd.
And we are at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's always the guy from Story, even this morning. When I taught for sixth graders, it was like, when it started, it had to go from 10 to count down to 0 to get them graded. End of the year, I go 3, 2, 1, 0. And they were already raised by voice, and Vic will tell you this. You start raising your voice and screaming at kids, they'll turn you off. So you need to get very careful when you raise your voice. And so you just give them food, you do one, and they're like sheep, you know, you just train them.
Are you saying something about this group?
It is glad to see. We had some great meetings this morning and a lot of things accomplished. I do have, as you know, our main speaker today will be past International Director, President Douglas Alexander. He'll talk to us about Lions Club International Foundation. But also we have other special guests, our Peace Poster winner from the district, from the big town of Big Piney, Wyoming. I think it's Dylan Foster. If you want to stand up, Dylan. And then you can introduce your family that came with her. I mean, come from Big Piney to here. That's a big trip. You know, if you look at the map, Big Piney, if you can go right across, it's like 150 miles. But no, they have to go down. They got to go to Lander. It makes it about a 400-mile trip. So that's why you go. But welcome. We're glad to have you. I'm going to ask Pastor to Governor Craig Thompson for the invocation.
Thank you, District Governor Good. And it's going to be a long one. Let's take our heads and bow in prayer. If you want to rise, that'd be great. Gracious God, we thank you for this opportunity to call people for a meeting. We thank you for each and every one who is here today. You have blessed us with supportive people who seek the welfare of your people and your ministry and on our organization. Loving Father, we thank you most of all for being here in our midst. Let your presence be made known and lead this meeting today. Thank you, Father, for we know that you are always here to support your people. We give you thanks and praise. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I just want to recognize some people today because it's the LCIF time. And I introduce International Past President Douglas Alexander. But I need to recognize Roger F. He was our LCI coordinator during Campaign 100. So Roger, would you stand up to be recognized? Thank you. Also, I'll recognize these two again tonight. Lion John Harper for the last 2 years was our LCIF coordinator. Didn't want to do it this year and he broke my arms. Thank you, Lion John Harper. Without that, we will, like we did last night. John, you here? You want to collect money?
Money? You want me to mention money?
We're,
Can we make it free this time?
yeah, we're going to go to dinner. Okay? Yeah, it's all yours now. You did such a good job.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's allow this table to go first, if you would, please. And we'll let the first table go next. But after that, we'll try and go through that door and around so we don't get hung up. You don't care when you go, then go right now. Yes, so this table. Except for you.
Yeah,
So,
oh, sit down.
you walk through that door. Set up over there, and go back into except for you, you gotta wait till last. You guys ready to go? Out through that door. Around foods. Hey, you sit down.
I don't care how many medals you have.
If you guys wanna go.
You make it to the show.
I'm going to go ahead and shut off the microphone just so you don't have to listen to all
I
the
want.
clamor getting food. And we'll turn it back on when the program's ready to start.
Not take me out, take me down.
Thank you.
There you go.
It looks like the program is about to start, so I'll turn the mic back on and let you enjoy the program. Sorry about all the delay. It takes a little while to feed a crowd this size. Thanks.
We are very fortunate. I was talking to the lady that presented last night, and she didn't understand how many years of commitment that our intermediate past president, how many years he's committed to his life. So if you look at these people, they have to be a international director 2 years, and then a third vice president, fourth, third, second, first, and then they're the president. Now he's the chairman of the foundation. Next year, he's the vice chairman of the foundation. He's committed 8 years just for life. So people, you need to understand that, and the traveling they do. I understand he's going right to Geneva, Switzerland after this one, but we're very fortunate to have past international president Doug Alexander.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the immediate past international president of Lions Clubs International, serving as chairperson of our foundation, LCIF. I would like to give you a little history of our foundation, when it started. There might be a quiz later this evening, so listen up. And I always like to say this, and I'm glad to hear you laugh here. And I tell Lions all the time, if we're not having fun in our service and in our meetings, something's wrong. We should be having fun. Happy members don't leave. Remember that. Happy members don't leave our association. We don't have a membership problem. I think we got a retention problem. We can't control the deaths, but we lose so many more members for other reasons. So let's make sure that our Lions are having a great experience and enjoying the service. Back to our foundation, which was started back in 1968. The first grant was awarded in 1972. And anybody in here know where? Where was it? For how much? No, $5,000. $5,000. Yes, that was the first one. Okay. 1973, the Melvin Jones Fellowship Program was created. 1984, LCIF partnered with Quest International to implement the Youth Development Program, now Lions Quest. In 1985, LCIF awarded its first major catastrophe grant. Anyone care to guess where that was at and how much it was for? It was for $50,000 in Mexico for earthquake. 1986, the Progressive Program was started. And in 1999, LCIF embarks on a partnership with the Carter Center to combat river blindness and trachoma in Latin America and Africa. Now, the Carter Center, we do know that's all a part of past President Jimmy Carter, who was a Lion, a past council chair, and still with us. You know, he's in hospice now, but he's still with us. But this river blindness in third world countries, through the work with Lions International and the Carter Center over the last 20 years, they have practically wiped out river blindness in third world countries. And that is something we can be proud of as Lions, the work that we're able to do. And when we partner with organizations such as the Carter Center, they have the boots on the ground and the medical people with the know-how, and we help with the funding. In 2005, over $5 million was raised for Hurricane Katrina. You know the story behind that? Where were we supposed to go for our convention that year? New Orleans. So we had to quickly find a new place to have our convention. Where did we wind up? Boston, that's right. Where we're going this year, Boston. Very good. In 2017, what's significant about that year?
100th year.
100th anniversary, very good. At that point, we had awarded 13,000 grants totaling $1 billion from the foundation. And in 2018, at our international convention in Las Vegas, Campaign 100 was started with the goal to raise $300 million over 3 years. We were on our way, and then something called COVID happened, and we saw a slowdown in fundraising. So we asked our board of trustees decided to extend it by 1 year. So it actually took us 4 years. So at our convention that ended in June of 2022 in Montreal, we celebrated the completion of Campaign 100 to raise that $300 million. And how much did we raise? $325 million. Give yourself a hand. You played a role in making that happen. One of the things I often say to people when they're making donations to our foundation, that 100% of whatever you donate goes to the cause. And we often tell people, when you're looking at foundations to support, check and see what percentage of your donation actually goes to the cause. Some of the foundations, 20, 30, 40, 50% goes for administrative costs, paying somebody's big salary. But we're proud to be able to say that 100% of your donation goes to the cause. If you donate $100 to disaster relief, $100 go to disaster relief. Now, do we have administrative costs? Yes, we do. But based on the funds that we have in the foundation, the interest is enough for us to handle our administrative side. So that's showing that our foundation is very well run. Now, who knows what our goal is for this year overall? $50 million. I get a weekly report, and it comes out every Friday. And I travel so much, sometimes I have to remember which day it is. Yesterday was Friday, because I got that report yesterday. That's how I knew it was Friday. We were at $45 million.
Wow.
Yes, thank you. Give yourself a hand. We're well on our way of achieving this year's goal. And me, if you read my bio, you know my background is finance. I added a 10% stretch goal, which means by July 11th, which is when the convention ends in Boston, hopefully when the tote board is run, it will be at least at $55 million. And you know, that's really not a lot when you think about our organization, the size of our organization, over 1.4 million members in more than 200 countries around the world. I don't always like to compare us to other service organizations, but Rotary. Anybody care to guess how much Rotary raises every year? $300 million. Their goal this year is $430 million, which is the 300 million with a 10% increase of 30 million. And where's the other 100 million coming from? The Bill Gates Foundation. And how do I know this? Because we were invited to their headquarters earlier late last year, and we got a tour of their beautiful facility, which is also in Illinois. Yeah, I think it's Edmonton, Illinois, is where they're located. Beautiful 18-story building. We can learn some lessons from Rotarians. Their foundation has been around much longer than ours, one. Two, they go after a more affluent membership also, and they recommend to their membership what they should donate to the foundation. When they get their dues bill, is a number that they should donate to the foundation. We don't do that. Our foundation, 54 years old, would you believe that only about 20% of our membership know about our foundation? And especially after coming off of Campaign 100, you would think every Lion should know about our foundation. So when I became chairman, after being president, I said, is there any information in our new membership kits about the foundation? It wasn't, but it is now. From the day they join our association, all of our members should know about our foundation. During the pandemic, we saw that fundraising was falling off, so we were trying to come up with an idea how we could raise some funds to support the foundation. I don't know if you remember the first telethon that was put on, where the goal was to raise $250,000 to help during the time of pandemic. We raised $900,000 from that telethon. So it was done the next year. Last year it raised $4 million. This year it's June 4th. Our first Vice President, Dr. Patty Hill, is spearheading it, and hopefully we'll raise even more this year than we did the last 2 times out. And this was something that came up in an idea from a group of us. We were just trying to come up with an idea of what we could do to continue to raise funds, because the need became even greater during the time of the pandemic. In the state of New York, I'm sure you saw that in the news, We were an epicenter of the pandemic. We were losing 800 people a day, all day long, all night long. All you were hearing was sirens going off. And then you would see on the news at all of the hospitals, they had these tractor trailer refrigerated trucks because they had no space to put the bodies. And this went on for quite a while. We received a $200,000 grant in the state of New York. We did a lot of feeding of our first responders. We purchased a lot of the PPE, the personal protective equipment for them. And it was split up amongst the 11 districts in the state. One district did ice cream instead of the food, and it went over bigger than the food. Because you know, over the years, if you've done these things with disasters, people always bring a lot of food. So a lot of times they wind up with too much food. But the ice cream went over big. But we had another district that found the machine that cleaned ambulances. And you didn't think about it, but if you transported a COVID patient before you could use that ambulance again, it had to be cleaned. And it would take several hours to do that. They found a machine that could clean the ambulance in 45 minutes or less. And with their portion of that grant, they were able to purchase 6 of those machines and to distribute them to the local fire and ambulance services in their community. That's what Lions do every day. And our foundation is there to help us to be able to do that. Now, my club's story, when I joined my club, the Brooklyn Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club back in '84, you know, I was really impressed because back then it was all men. Women weren't Lions yet. And they were working in the community to help people, which I thought was really cool. Well, in Bedford-Stuyvesant, if you called for an ambulance, people were literally dying in the street before they showed up, if they showed up at all. So 2 gentlemen who worked for the emergency medical services started a volunteer ambulance corps. And they had an old used ambulance that had been donated to them by a more affluent community on the island because they had received a new one. And our club used to support them by writing a check every so often for a few $100s to help them keep tires on it and to put gas in the ambulance. Well, it was in one of our club meetings when a member said, let's buy them a brand new ambulance. Well, they got quiet in the room just like it is in here now. And you can hear the woman, where the hell are we gonna get $50,000 from? Well, let me tell you where we got $50,000 from. Members started raising their hand. I pledge $500. I pledge $1,000. Remember that foundation I started talking about? We applied for a matching grant and it was approved. And we purchased that ambulance. And when that ambulance came and we celebrated, all of the volunteer ambulance corps came out and we marched down Fulton Street where I worked as manager of the bank. And to see that ambulance with the Lions logo on the side, knowing that people's lives were possibly being saved, it really made me feel good to be a Lion. But another thing, on the side of the ambulance, it didn't say donated by the Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club. It said donated by Lions. And I want to say thank you to the Lions of Wyoming and Colorado and all the Lions, because if you've ever supported our foundation, you had a hand in making that happen. So on behalf of the Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club and the people of Bedford-Stuyvesant, thank you for supporting our foundation and making that happen in our community. Now, our foundation is there to help us with those projects that a club or a district may not be able to do on their own. And when disasters strike around the world, and we're seeing more and more disasters happening, which means the need for our foundation will be there and the need will be greater for those funds, which is why we must continue to raise funds. But I guess it's almost 2 months now with the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. The day of that earthquake, I signed off on a $200,000 grant, a major catastrophe grant for Turkey. People said, what about Syria? We don't have Lions in Syria. And if you know, with our grant program, it has to be administered through a Lions Club. So the $200,000 grant was to Turkey, but for the surrounding area, Turkey and the surrounding countries are also working to support the people of Syria. Just recently in Mississippi, another disaster, they received a $10,000 emergency grant right away, and I've signed off on a $50,000 major catastrophe grant for the people of Mississippi. Now, if you remember, I guess it's about 2 years ago in Kentucky, when the tornadoes went through there, remember that candle factory where a lot of people lost their lives? Well, January of last year, I got to go to Kentucky and stood right where that candle factory once stood. You could still smell the aroma of candle in the air, and to see nothing there but a slab of cement. But to see Lions pull up in a tractor trailer that generates food and water to help the people get back on their feet, it really makes you proud to be Lions. That's what we do. Our motto is simply, we serve. We look for that opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those less fortunate and those who are in need. And with the support of our foundation, we're able to do that. Some years ago, we had Superstorm Sandy who came through New York City area. You know, we don't usually get earthquakes and tornadoes. My daughter, who at the time was my tenant, lived downstairs. She said, "Daddy, the tree is no longer outside. It has fell across onto my car, my nice Mercedes." And I looked outside and said, "Well, there's nothing I can do here right now." And of course, it took the phone wires and all of that down with it. So now you don't have any TV, you don't have any telephone. And the phone company won't come out until the tree is cut up and taken away. So I had to find someone to come and do that. And we did. And I'm just thinking my car's destroyed. There was not a scratch on my car.
Oh.
A little sap from the tree. But actually, I had recently done my stairs and put in new railings. So the wrought iron railing caught the bulk of that impact from the tree. But nevertheless, we survived it. I thought I would have to call my insurance company, but it was no major damage. But the Rockaways, which is part of my district, Brooklyn and Queens, which is near the water, the boardwalk was completely just gone. And the sand was like 3 blocks in the community there. We helped a family, a young couple, a 2-family home. They had a daycare center in the basement of the home. The mom was pregnant with a second child. And the Lions came in there. And I don't know if you guys ever come across Jim Goff from Pennsylvania. He goes around helping to restore people's homes after disasters like this. And he would come up on the weekend with workers and Lions, and we would go in there. And we had to rip out that daycare center because of the mold and everything, and to redo it. If you could have seen what it looked like once it was redone. Beautiful. Lions at work, making a difference in the family's life. They didn't believe people did things like that. But that's what Lions do every day. And to share with you, with your goal here in District 15, I'm proud to say that you guys are at 115% of your goal. Give yourself a hand. The Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute has been supported by our foundation. And the information that I was given that they've received over time, $775,000. You guys may know better than me, but that's, I see John, Pastor, Director John Harper here shaking his head. So that's our foundation at work in your own community. So why wouldn't we support our foundation? I talked about the ambulance, and I often tell people, you know, we don't always see the effect of what our funds do and the work that we do as Lions. But I was doing some research some years ago for a speaking engagement, and I came across this information back in 1956. A Detroit Lions Club bought a little blind boy a set of drums. You know who that was? Stevie Wonder. Yes, we have to tell our story. If people don't remember anything else, they remember the story. Just imagine what effect that had on his career. I was trying to get him to our 100th anniversary in Chicago. How awesome would that be for him to walk out on the stage and say, "Hi, I'm Stevie Wonder, and the Lions bought me a set of drums when I was 6 years old." But he travels with such an entourage, it was just cost prohibitive for us to do that. But stories like that. When I was a director, I was going to Nebraska to do a convention, and they had a newsletter that they produced every month. And we always ask if they do that, send them to us so we can familiarize ourselves with what's going on in their district. And of course, it had my picture on the front. Mailman was at the house next door. He comes back downstairs and says, I want to shake your hand. So apparently he read the article and saw that I was in the Lions. Right? He said when he was a kid, it was the local Lions club that bought their little league uniforms. And this man had to be in his 50s or 60s, but they remember that. It comes back to us. We do great work, and we've been doing it now for 106 years. We're now in our second century of service. And for us to continue to be able to meet those needs, we must continue to support our foundation. We're now at $1.2 billion in grants, over 18,000 grants given out, making a difference. I must mention our current president, Brian Sheehan from Minnesota. He has priorities, and one of them is keeping our foundation strong. You know how proud I was when I saw that amongst his priorities for us. Another one is we should share the joy of being a Lion. And you know, this membership situation, I have to share this one with you. It all begins with an ask. We have to ask people to become a part of us, and we can't assume they don't want to become a part of us. Perfect example, and not that I'm proud to tell this story. To state I was the manager of the bank. I had a gentleman on my staff who sold the insurance. I go to the Crown Heights Lions Club, which is in my district. They actually sponsored my club many years ago. And who's sitting behind the table, collecting from the tickets? It's one of my employees. I said, you're a Lion? And you know what he said to me? Yes, you never asked me to join. And ever since that day, I keep an application in my pocket. We were at Capitol Hill Day in DC, which is week after next, the 24th, 25th, 26th, we'll be going for that. And there was a lady there that runs Welcome Us program, which is part of the refugee resettlement. And she wanted to be, well, no one had asked her. And so I said, you're not a Lion? She says, no. And I said, would you like, oh, I'd be happy to join. And we could not find an application. I was so embarrassed. I keep me an application out in my pocket. We were at UN Day in New York, the 5th of March. The ambassador from Kenya, he's the permanent representative to the UN, who lives in Brooklyn, in the Clinton Hill section, said he was interested in becoming a Lion. I got up out of my seat and ran up front, handed him an application. I replaced it because I keep it in my pocket. The opportunities come. We have to be ready to step forward and give people that opportunity to serve. And when we bring them in, please get them involved. Let them go on a service project to see what it feels like to make a difference. And I know we all have that aha moment, but mine was when I delivered a Thanksgiving basket to a needy family in Bed-Stuy. I was a new Lion in the club, and we were planning to do the Thanksgiving basket delivery. And I volunteered to go on the Thanksgiving basket delivery. We would go in groups of 2, one carrying a 20-pound turkey and a gallon of cider, the other with the laundry basket with all the trimmings for a meal. We go to a home on Putnam Avenue, ring the doorbell, we identify ourselves as members of the Brooklyn Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club, and said to the mother, here, this is for your family. If you could have seen the look on her face when she looked at us and said, thank you so much. No one has ever done anything for my family. And you look around at the surroundings in which some people live, and all I can say is, there for the grace of God, it could be me and my family. I walked away feeling so good about the experience, and all we had done was giving a meal to a needy family. I tell people I had joined Lions months earlier, but that was the day I became a Lion. The day that I knew we were truly making a difference in people's lives. And that was over 30 years ago. This year makes 39 years that I've been in Lions. I'm a Lion for life. There's nothing anybody can say or do to make me leave. If I don't get a plaque, that's okay. I joined to serve, to not to be served. Plus, I got more plaques than I know what to do with at this point, because I joined to serve, not to be served. And we must always keep that in mind. And people join our organizations for a lot of reasons. Some to promote their business. You can usually spot them right away. And I did a talk on that. If you join for the right reason, The other stuff will come. And one of the biggest mortgages I ever did when I was working came through Alliance member, who just happened to be the accountant by an actor by the name of Lawrence Fishburne, who's from Bedford-Stuyvesant. He was buying a $2 million condo in Manhattan in the Hard Rock Cafe. And who got to do the mortgage? Me. Because of the service that we give to others. And that's the payback. And we don't even think about it, but the training that we get as Lions. There is so much available to us through our organization that people pay thousands of dollars for. All we've got to do is go online. Look it up, it's there. Take advantage of the press center. And I'll talk more about this evening. Salesforce, which is the new technology that you mentioned earlier today in one of the sessions about where we're going to get rid of all these different My Lion and My LCI. You'll have one sign in, you'll be able to get to all the things that you need to get to. It's a big investment for our association, but it's worth it because according to our current president who's in the tech field, we were about 10 years behind and we are finally catching up. So I'm going to take my seat for now. I think that's enough for now because I do have to speak later this evening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting our foundation. To me, this job is better than being president because I get to travel around and see the great work that Lions are doing all over the world. I was in Africa and went to a children's cancer hospital and to see those little children going through what they're going through, but to see Lions there making their lives better, providing the necessary equipment that they need. And our foundation, all we ask is that if you are the recipient of a grant, is to put a label on it, put a sign up supported by our foundation so people see where the money goes. All of those donations go back to our communities. I was in, I think I was in Nigeria, and when we visited one of these hospitals, and they were just opening up a new dialysis center wing. I think it was an additional 24 beds. And I was really impressed that in a third world country, how beautiful the work was done, how clean the facilities were, which was not always the case. And then they said, look up. Excuse me. It said the Douglas Alexander Dialysis Center. Wow, how powerful is that? Excuse me. I'm gonna take my seat. Thank you.
And you know when Lions care, like past international president Doug, when the emotion shows. I have problems sometimes too. My emotion shows because we're doing something. At this time, Holly, Lion Holly Rutherford Allen, she's our Vice District and Regional Chairman and Coordinator, would like to give us some word of congratulations and stuff. Holly.
There's really not much more I need to say after past International President Doug's talk. I was fortunate last July to be asked to join the LCIF team with past International President Doug as the chair of that team to serve as the vice chair for Area G, which is an area that includes the western part of the country, a lot of the states, Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Arizona. California is their own thing, so we don't go out that far. But we also, when they asked me to serve as vice chair, they said, well, and here's the region, and they listed off all the states, and And then they said, oh, and the final state is Hawaii. And I said, well, I was gonna say no, but since you added Hawaii, I think I better say yes. Anyway, so as vice chair, this is my first year, and it's been a real pleasure getting to know all of our volunteers who work as LCIF coordinators. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Gary for his amazing job that he did this year. You are already at 115% of goal, but I know that that is not where you will end up, because you all are a generous group, and as you know, you never know when there's going to be a disaster, something that is happening in your hometown or in a hometown close to you, and LCIF comes right in and helps. And you know, my latest example of that was the Marshall Fire that happened in the Denver area, where more than 1,000 people lost their homes. And of course, we did have a $10,000 grant from LCIF, came right in, and we were able to help those more than 1,000 families with assistance. And of course, it came on New Year's Eve. So the one thing, if you'll remember, one thing that touched me was, you know, all of those children's Christmas gifts, brand new, less than a week old, up in smoke. So it's really important. LCIF is so important in our own region and also across the world. And as you know, those donations that we get that help with that $10,000 that comes to Colorado for the Marshall Fire, that comes from Lions all across the world. You know, so they are helping us as well to meet our disaster needs. So the other thing I want to say is thank you so much, Lions of Wyoming, for all of the work that you do and for all of the donations that you've made to LCIF. And I look forward to attending next year. Want to see what you could do bigger and better next year. So thank you so much.
Just to give you a little background of what Wyoming has received from LCIF. How many of you remember Cokeville? Dana, what happened to Cokeville?
Some crazy person went to the school.
We had a husband and wife go into a classroom, bombs, and hold kids hostage. It was LCI that gave us a grant to help those kids in that community to deal with that situation. We're just not totally disaster. That's a disaster. That's human disaster. KC, Wyoming.
Flood.
$10,000 emergency grant flooded. Lusk, Wyoming.
Flood.
Same thing. Bomberant fire. So emergency grants that came in Wyoming. There is a chart back there to show you what Wyoming has received, or District 15 has received from LCIF. And as part of our donations and worldwide donations, that we can help, like past international presidents said, we help everybody no matter what. It's like Roger pointed out, we are working with our eyeglasses with a club in Nebraska to help of others. Thank you for attending. The next thing on the agenda, I'm just going to warn you, is my no, at 1:30, we can do that now. Ty Peterson, are you here?
Oh, I'm here.
Would you come forward, please?
I can, yeah.
Ty has been a blessing for me. He's behind. I said, Ty, I need this, I need that, and Ty has done it. So just thank Ty for working behind the scenes.
So once again, you've got me up here, so I'll make this one fairly quick. So John, Dusty, and Clay, can you guys go to the back table and grab those plaques for me, please, and come on up? So from 1922 to 2022, Cody Lions Club has been here to serve, so 100 years as of last year. In honor of that, we decided to honor some of our partners that have been a part of that for us. Without their help, it makes it a lot harder for us to serve. So I was waiting for Dr. Biles with the Northern Wyoming Surgical Center, but we'll see if he shows up while we're doing this. We'll get him in here, but sometimes with on-call and stuff like that, it doesn't happen. So we're going to present these to each of our partners here. We have Dr. Mary Welch with the Northern Wyoming Ophthalmology. We have Basin Vision Center, which we have 3 partners over there. That's Dr. Hartley, Dr. Bell, and Dr. Brandenburg. We also have Family Vision, which is Dr. Jacob Despain. And then we have all the doctors at Northern Wyoming Surgical Center. So 100 years we've been able to serve, and these providers have been there, whether it's cataract surgery, eye exams, glasses, or any other site-related needs. So we wanted to offer them, on behalf of the Cody Lions Club, a humanitarian award, thanking them for helping us through all these years of doing that. So I'll get those plaques to those individuals. And we just wanted to express our appreciation as the club to what they've done for us.
Yeah, I apologize. I owe the district $20. I was just told that I can't even follow my own agenda. So it's been a long time, but so I owe the district $20. It's called Tell Twist. It's all about fun. And I know the money will go in a good place because I have to get home so the district can, no, LCI will reimburse me for that. But who I skipped is our guest. We run a contest in the international called the Peace Poster. And right now I want Dylan, come forward please. Dylan Foster. No, she'll tell you which way. Is that right?
Yes. Okay, good, right.
The theme this year for the Peace Poster was lead with compassion. And then the directions is, I take pictures of these because the poster is sent to Lions International, it's property of Lions International. So we take a picture because we want to make sure our winner has a memory. So then we blow it up and we put it in a frame. And this is Robin's. You want to talk about your poster and what it means? What gave you that great idea?
Well, this idea kind of came to me. I was kind of just grasping at straws when I did it because our art teacher assigned it as a project. And I probably had 6 other ideas, but I decided to stick to this one because it felt kind of wholesome to me. And the dove is trying to bring everybody together. And my statement for the peace poster is you can't wish for peace, you make it. So it's showing everybody from a whole bunch of different countries coming together to bring the earth and make it all healthy. And that's how the sun is shining in the background, just finally glowing, and everybody's happy. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And to keep up the hard work is a certificate for Dylan. And also that to keep up our artwork, 105-piece art set. Have fun doing it. Bring your sister. And Baumgartner, all the way from Big Piney. I do want to thank the Pinedale Lions Club for the sponsorship. They pay their travel fee to get here and a night stay. It's, you know, like I said, it's 400 miles away. So Pinedale Lions Club, thank you for sponsoring it. Jeff? Thank you. The new stuff is out. The new kits are out. It's called Dare to Dream. If you order one kit costs $11.95, and then they charge us $25 for shipping. So I go, oh, I'm just going to order 10. So right now I have 2 extra. They'll cost you $14.40. So if you want, I'm not selling to Utah.
Come on.
Okay. So the other 8 has been taken. If you want, Jeff, you click buy one now. So I know Pinedale will get one. So I have 1 left. If you want to buy that kit, the thing about it, and I think Robin was really good about it, Dylan was, that it takes kids to think about. Our future is those kids. We always ask kids to write, but not always writers. They're artists. It gives them that chance to express through the artwork. And some of those kids need that. They're not the athletes, they're not the athletes, they're the artists. But I just found out Dylan's goal in life is to attend Harvard. She wants to become one of those guys that figure out deaths, forensic scientists. So if you die, they'll figure out why. So get to know her, because she'll treat you nice if you treat her nice when you die. So, but she loves the art. It's a great program. So I have that 1 more kit. If you want to buy it, I have it. Next on the agenda, we have, I think it's Dusty, President Dusty. Would you come up, please?
Sure.
Asking National President Alexander, would you, our Cody Lions Club has 4 individuals that we want to honor with lifetime memberships. So if I win, I call your name. If you would come up, accept your card, it would be much appreciated. First one is Leon Smith. All right, our next one is Mr. Larry Matrenga. Hurry up, Larry. He is shocking. Yeah. Just this once.
Hey, there's a dollar bill on the floor.
All right, Lion Rod Solik.
At least they pronounced my name right.
I know you wouldn't.
And last but not least, Craig Wilbur. Thank you, guys.
Dylan, this is yours to take home to, for your memory. Thank you. That's a tremendous honor, you four lions. It's nice to work with Cody this year. This is my 5th trip to Cody. I probably attend more Cody meetings than my own club. So it was been a great thing. So at this time, we're going to adjourn. At 2:15, we start our first presentation. And just to kind of warn you, that is me. It's called, the membership is a 4-course meal, pretty active. And then following that at 3:15 will be Dare to Soar with our friend Mick Barris and his friend Jack. And more than that, but we know Jack is a lot easier to say than more than that. So you can have a break until 2:15 and we get going here. So thank you. Thank you. We'll see you later.
We will end this broadcast at this time and resume the second broadcast, I believe, at 2:15.
How are you, sir?
Hang it in there.
Congratulations.